I don't know what we just witnessed.
You can't see anything.
That was miserable.
Cannot see anything. Nothing. I'm blind, I swear.
You ever wonder what would happen if NASCAR just threw out the rule book, forgot about all the rules and regulations surrounding an event, and just went for it? Let me introduce you to the 2020 Charlotte Roval race. Stock cars and rain have long been a recipe for disaster, and for the first decades of NASCAR's existence, a light rain shower would derail proceedings for any attempt at on-track activity. That changed in 2008 at the Napa Auto Parts 200 in Montreal, when NASCAR debuted their rain tires. Unsurprisingly, Ron Fellows, a sports car driver from Canada with boatloads of rain racing experience, was the most equipped to keep the car between the yellow lines that day. But more importantly, it marked the first gesture in NASCAR's confusing and frustrating relationship with rain. It set the stage for rain races at Road America, Mid-Ohio, and Watkins Glen in the decade that followed. The mandate was simple. As long as there was no standing water and visibility was okay, teams were allowed to toss on the grooved Goodyears and have at it at road courses. That was until October of 2020 at the Charlotte Roval, when, for reasons the public may never know, NASCAR said, it. It's raining way too hard, it's getting dark, and we have a field full of drivers with almost no experience driving in the rain. Let's do it anyway. It was the final race of the round of 12 in the 2020 Xfinity playoffs, and NASCAR had been tortured by rain all weekend. Even though NASCAR was prepared to race in the rain, the cars had rain tires and wipers installed, the forecast painted a dire picture. The rain looked like it would be too heavy, and the race was already starting late in the afternoon. Postponement seemed inevitable. However, to the surprise of many, the clouds parted as race time approached, and the race started on time. It was damp, but it was drivable, and the first laps around the Roval went off without a hitch. As Stage 1 raced to its conclusion, the skies began to darken, and the rain began to fall quickly. Ironically, Kyle Weatherman was the first to fall victim to the quickly deteriorating conditions, losing traction and plowing into the safer barrier. He was able to get back on track and avoid bringing out the caution, but Chase Briscoe, who was battling for the lead, followed suit a couple of corners later and looped the 98 car coming out of the chicane. Then, with 7 laps to go in Stage 1, all hell broke loose.
Oh, the 19 car's in the wall over here in the infield. The 9 car's breaking off. The leader.
The leader
of the race
just spun out.
Think back when I was 10's in the wall.
10 car. Ross Chastain into the wall. His windshield wipers working.
Another car heavy in the barriers, and this may bring the caution out.
Tommy Joe Martins is stuck in the tire barriers as we see the 6.
Oh, there's a couple cars in the fence over there.
Ryan
there's another one in the wall.
Just dove into the fence.
I think they got to throw the yellow here because you got cars sitting there.
Austin Hill
off the racetrack.
Here's the 99 McLaughlin.
You got more cars piling into that area. I think it's fair to say grip level's low.
Yeah. The caution has come out. You see there, Mills also in the 5.
NASCAR mercifully threw a caution, but despite standing water and low visibility, they opted to restart the race with 2 laps to go on the stage. The drivers avoided major incidents, and Kaz Gralla, a skilled road racer, was able to win Stage 1.
Through the front stretch chicane, and he'll collect his first ever stage win in the Xfinity Series.
Oh, Harrison's gonna miss the chicane again.
The radios, at least the ones that were still working, were lit up with concerns about the track conditions. But NASCAR soldiered on and restarted the second stage on schedule. The drivers settled down, and for the first laps of Stage 2, there were relatively few incidents. But as the race approached lap 30, the rain worsened, and the caution finally flew when Riley Herbst got into the back of leader Noah Gragson. NASCAR opted to leave the race under yellow, but as the rain grew heavier, they ultimately decided to red flag the event. With little daylight remaining and no break in the radar in sight, it seemed like this edition of the Drive for Cure 250 would continue on a different day. However, 30 minutes later, with rain still falling, NASCAR made the decision to restart the race. The drivers were surprised, but the sentiment along pit road was that this was fun racing, and most seemed excited to continue. So with 8 laps left in Stage 2, the race resumed. The result was rather predictable.
He's going to take the lead momentarily.
18 goes around. So is the 7. And they pile into him.
Barely got the barrier with my back.
The immediate carnage did little to deter NASCAR, who seemed determined to finish this race. With just 1 lap left in Stage 2, the race was once again restarted, and Chase Briscoe managed to make it around in P1. Many wondered if that would be the end of the race. Since they had reached the end of Stage 2, per NASCAR's rulebook, the race was official, and they did not have to run the remainder of the laps. They would have been well within their rights to name Briscoe the winner and move on. But for some reason, on October 10th, 2020, NASCAR left the rulebook at home. With 25 laps remaining and the track illuminated only by the lights around the circuit, the green flag waved, signaling the start of Stage 3. Any hopes that the rain would lighten were quickly dashed. Cars wrecked into the first corner, and it began raining so hard that it was even difficult to see on the TV broadcast. Despite all of this, the third stage, while chaotic, remained green for a large majority. That was until the caution flew with 4 laps remaining. The rain was intensifying, maybe the worst it had been all day. But NASCAR had come this far, and they weren't going to turn back now. So with 2 laps remaining, the green flag flew and brought on one of the most electric finishes in recent history.
Briscoe's got a better restart.
A lot better start for Chase Briscoe, but here comes the 16 again. AJ Allmendinger with a great turn, and now the 98 goes around.
Hold her down here, hold her down here. Got her.
Briscoe around. He'll wait for the field to go by. Allmendinger out front. Now Daniel Hemrick running second. Gregson third. Alex LeBay is fourth. AJ Allmendinger in front. Looking for his second win of 2020.
Oh, Noah's going to miss the corner big time. Barely got a turn there.
The gap is closed up.
The 8 slid the rears.
The 16, AJ Allmendinger, will win at the Charlotte Roval.
What a race, what a battle.
Ultimately, it was AJ Allmendinger, who boasted more road course experience than anyone in the field, who conquered the rain. And despite being soaked, cold, and exhausted, the sentiment up and down pit road was overwhelmingly positive. We may never know why NASCAR worked so hard to complete this race on schedule, but it turned out to be a milestone event in the evolution of rain racing in NASCAR. Was this a step too far? Too dangerous? Did it lead to the catastrophic COTA rain race in the Cup Series a year later? Maybe, but that isn't for me and you to worry about. Instead, we're left with the amazing imagery of one rainy night in October 2020.